Today I'm sharing with you my sourdough waffles with freshly milled einkorn. You don't have to use freshly milled einkorn for this. You can use store-bought einkorn flour as well. However, I am using freshly milled because a lot of people, when they get this flour, they want to know recipes that they can make with this type of flour because it is not a traditional all-purpose flour that you can get at the grocery store. However, it is a unique and perfect grain to work with. It is the original grain. It has so much health benefits to you. It is a very soft, fluffy flour when it is freshly milled, as opposed to more of like a hard white berry. This, using einkorn, is a lot softer. We're also going to be using our sourdough. Now here is my sourdough starter. Meet Claire, everyone. This is Claire. She is doing beautifully, if I may say so myself. Now she is still active at this moment, which is fine. You can use sourdough discard or you can use active sourdough. It doesn't matter. So into a bowl here, I am adding in some whole milk, and I'm going to have some pieces of butter. We need about 4 tablespoons of butter for this. So I'm slicing this up in small pieces. It helps microwave it a little bit faster. But we're going to pop this in the microwave for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes or so, just to get this butter melted. So after about a minute and a half or so, you can see this is partially melted. I'm going to give it a mix, pop it back in my microwave for a little bit longer just to get that fully melted. And when it's melted, we're going to set it aside so it kind of cools down a bit, because that 2 minutes in the microwave can make it a little bit hot. I'm going to measure out my freshly milled einkorn here. Again, you can use freshly milled or you can use store-bought, but this is particularly for freshly milled. To that, we're going to be adding in some brown sugar, our baking powder, as well as baking soda. You're also going to need some salt. And of course, if you know me, when I'm making any pancakes or waffles, I've got to have some spices. It just makes these things, pancakes, waffles, whatever it is, so much better. I'm adding in my signature nutmeg and cinnamon. A little pinch of nutmeg and some ground cinnamon to this just makes those flavors come alive. The sourdough flavors, just the einkorn on its own has a little bit of whole grain kind of flavor. It's just perfection. Gonna give that a good mix, because the one thing you don't want is a clump of baking soda or baking powder stuck in one area, because someone's gonna get that and it's not gonna taste very nice. So you really want to take a good minute or so to really whisk that in. Again, this is a freshly milled flour, so there's a little bit more going on in there, so you really want to make sure and evenly distribute all of those spices as well as the baking powder and baking soda. Now to our milk and butter that has been sitting for a little bit or so, we're going to add in some vanilla extract as well as some almond extract. I will have this recipe below for you in the description box, so you can get all that information down below. Going to give that a mix, and now we're going to add in our 1 cup of sourdough, whether it's discard or active starter. You can see she is alive and well and just beautiful and doing its thing. She's amazing. I don't know. Do you guys feel that way when you get your sourdough out and you take it out and you're working with it? It's like, wow, this is just amazing. We are going to mix that well, really, really mix that till it's completely and thoroughly incorporated. You can see it kind of starts to look like a custard because of that thickened sourdough. We're now going to add in our eggs, and you do want to, of course, make sure that it is cooled before you add in your sourdough and your eggs. So if it was heated up in the microwave, set it aside to cool a little bit until it's like, yeah, well, warm. Warm is fine, body temperature. Mix those eggs really, really well as well. That's kind of a theme going on in here. We're mixing everything really well, just to make sure that those eggs are thoroughly combined. And you can see that liquid starts to look like a custard, which is amazing. Amazing, amazing. I could say it because these are so delicious. For these waffles, I will be using some chocolate chips and some blueberries. The chocolate chips will be for smaller waffles that my littles really love, and the blueberries I will be using in my larger waffle maker. To our dry, I'm just going to add in my wet ingredients, and again, I'm going to mix thoroughly. Make sure and scrape that bowl to get all of that good stuff out of there, and mix well until it's combined. You of course don't want to overmix, but there isn't as much gluten in einkorn but still you just don't want to overmix. I'm going to get my spatula, scrape all the sides, scrape the bottom, make sure everything is incorporated. And we're just going to make these waffles up. Make sure that your waffle irons are already ready to go, because once you add that baking soda and everything to that sourdough, they kind of start to react. So you want to make sure everything is prepped and ready to go. For my larger waffle iron, it's going to take about a half a cup of batter. Don't overfill it, because trust me, it doesn't matter how many times I make waffles, I tend to always overfill my waffle iron. It doesn't matter if it's a big one, small one. My mini waffle makers, my larger Belgian style waffle, it doesn't matter. I'm always overstuffing. So a half a cup is all you really need for the large ones. I'm adding in my blueberries. And now this is a Belgian waffle maker, so a half a cup for that one. And these smaller mini ones only really need about 2 tablespoons. And I'm sprinkling those mini chocolate chips on top. Let these cook until they're finished cooking, of course. My waffle maker here usually turns green when ready. Check on it in about a minute and a half or so, until they're fully cooked through. And that is it. Now, this makes a good amount of waffles for my family. It can last for a good breakfast. And if we have leftovers, they go in the fridge and they are perfect toasted for the next day. They don't really last more than 2 days around here. But if I really want to make a big batch of this, these are perfect for freezer once they're completely cooled. Place them in the freezer, pop one in your toaster, because it gets nice and crunchy on the outside and it's still soft and fluffy on the inside. Perfection to me. Using freshly milled flour in general can be a little bit tricky when it comes to recipes. This one is easy breezy, lemon squeezy, even though there's no lemons in this. It's just an easy recipe to put together. It is using sourdough and it is using freshly milled grain. 2 things which are really just have a lot of health benefits, and it's good for you, and it's delicious and it adds flavor. It is great. I hope that you enjoy it and you try it and you enjoy it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.